guys, so it's been a few weeks since I did a video, and the reason being I've been really sick. I've had the cold from hell, and I'm on week 3, and I'm still not over it. And I also injured myself at work. I tripped and fell over a rug and smacked my face on the concrete floor, hence the lovely bruise on my face, which, believe it or not, last week looked 10 times worse. So even though I look horrifying and sound terrible, I have decided to just throw myself out there because I just feel the need to talk about this book, and I can't put it off any longer, especially since I finished the second book tonight. So I am here tonight to talk about the book Feed by Mira Grant. This is the first book in her Newsflesh trilogy, which is a near-future post-apocalyptic zombie adventure that's not really about the actual zombies. This is a second chance read for me. About 2 years ago, a bunch of people recommended that I read this series because they knew how much I love zombies. And I attempted to read this book. I got about maybe 50 pages in, and I really wasn't feeling it, so I put it down. But recently, another reason why I haven't been making videos is that I was in this really terrible reading slump. I haven't been reading hardly at all. And I was getting desperate, so I just decided to pick this up and see if it captured my attention this time, and it definitely did. This is like a 500-page book, and I flew through it in 2 days, even being sick and working. So, okay, so this is unlike any other zombie book you will ever read. This whole world and the whole mythology behind the story is unlike anything else I've ever read. The zombie apocalypse basically happens in 2014. The scientists discover the cure for cancer and the common cold, and of course everybody's rejoicing and excited about this. But unfortunately, what they don't plan on is when the two sort of vaccines, or whatever you want to call them, combine in the human bloodstream, bad things happen. And the bad things that happen is that people turn into zombies, and it wipes out most of the population. And it's so widespread that, much like in the Walking Dead world, 20 years later, everybody is born with what they call the kellis-amberlee virus already in their bloodstream. So pretty much when you die, you automatically turn into a zombie. And not only that, this is like one of the coolest and most frightening aspects of the story. There's something that they call spontaneous amplification, which means you could just be walking down the street, going to the library, reading a book, eating a sandwich, and boom, you're a zombie. No warning signs, no getting bitten, nothing. And when you stop and think about it, that's pretty damn frightening. Now, this book tells a story of two blogger journalists, and in 2035, where the majority of this book takes place, blogging and, being a blogger / journalist has taken the place of like TV reporting and newspaper reporting. And it tells the story of Sean and Georgia Mason, who are adoptive brother and sister, and they go on this presidential campaign to cover it for their website, which is called After the End Times. And as I said, this book is not really about the actual zombies, although there are some instances of zombies. This is pretty much more about people and the reaction to being alive after the zombie apocalypse has taken place. And it is very much a character-driven story. There are a lot of characters, and all of them feel real to you, or they felt real to me. I think the most important aspect in this book is the dynamic between Sean and Georgia, because, they might be adopted, but they are closer than I think any other two brother and sister. It's not really a brother and sister relationship. It almost feels like a husband-wife relationship, and I know that might sound creepy, especially if you've read the second book, which I'm not going to get into now, but I know it might sound creepy, but that's how I felt. It didn't feel like really a brother-sister relationship to me. It just felt closer than that. They're just basically two halves of the same person, and you totally buy their relationship. You totally feel how much they love and respect and care about each other, and how much they protect each other. And Georgia, who is the narrator of this book, she's what you'd call a newsie, which she reports the news, obviously, but she focuses more on the serious aspect of journalism, Whereas Sean is called an Irwin, named after Steve Irwin. He goes out and, pretty much as Georgia describes him, he goes out and pokes the zombies with a stick. and gets it all on camera. And so they're very different personality-wise, but they, like I said, they're basically two halves of the same person. To be honest, I think part of the reason why I wasn't able to get into this book the first time was because there is quite a bit of scientific, sort of technical details as far as um, viruses and how they mutate and different strains of the virus and stuff like that, which is a little bit daunting to try and wrap your head around. At least it was for me. But it really didn't bother me after a while, and I found the whole concept and the whole storyline just incredibly interesting and just there was not one point in this book that I thought it was slow. I didn't think it dragged at all. I mean, the second book is much more action oriented. This book is much more like cerebral, but I didn't find it boring at all. I know some people have said that they thought that like the middle section of the book was a little slow, and I didn't find that to be the case in my opinion. Um, okay, so I'm going to keep this review spoiler free. It is impossible to talk about this book without talking about the ending, though, but I'm not going to say what happens at the end. I am just going to say that what happens at the end, when I read it, I pretty much felt like I got hit with a semi truck and it decided to roll back over me a couple times to make sure I felt the full impact of it. Yeah, it was like a sucker punch to the face about 100 times. The thing that really got to me was the very last line. The very last line. And I can't say what the line was, but it broke my heart in about a million pieces. And there were several instances when I was reading the second book where this particular line is said again, and each time I read it, it got to me just like it did the first time. I will say that I, for one, am extremely happy that I waited to really get into this series until all three books were published, because the way this book and the second book ended, if I had to wait for the third book to have been released or the second book to have been released, I probably would have had to go out and start punching kittens and babies because I would not be a happy girl right now. There's no way I would be able to wait like months or a year for the next book to come out. Yes, because Mira Grant is an evil genius when it comes to ending books. So, highly recommended, as if you couldn't tell. It is on my 6-star bookshelf on Goodreads, and I have a feeling the entire series is going to be in my list of my favorite books that I read in 2013. So, yeah, I'm going to shut up now because I'm going to make another video where I talk about book 2, which is called Deadline, so look out for that. And until next time, you guys, thanks for watching. Hi to all my new subscribers, and I will talk to you soon. Happy reading, guys. Bye!